let's give this a second go. Let's hope this time I can have the sound working. How are you today?
Stuart, I'm good, thank you. How are
Yeah,
you?
yeah, going okay. It's funny afterwards you sent me a message and said I hope I was okay. You know, the brain is still processing and still trying to work as well, which I find really interesting because even through the conversation with you, unless you told me that there were things that you struggled with, I wouldn't even have been able to tell.
And I think that's the difficult thing with all of these conditions that are
Yeah,
invisible.
yeah.
The, co- the cognitive change was the first thing that I really felt in my early 20s. And I just felt like I was losing my mind because, in the past, I'd be able to do a math equation in my head, get it right, and um, think of different words on the spot, never a problem.
Mm,
And
mm.
that started changing. And for me, it was so obvious. But for other people, I looked fine. I sounded okay to them. But for me, it was so significant. And that sort of progressively got worse the older that I've got. So,
Yeah. So let's go back to the start. When you
yeah.
first started noticing things, and sort of a bit of the process you went through before you maybe got to Brie.
Yes, well, I definitely, in my very late teenage years, I think I was 19, I started to become very unwell with this multi-system illness. I was having severe panic attacks, rashes on my face, tremors in my arms, and digestive just that were constant and nothing. I never really sort of saw each symptom, or I didn't understand that it was all tied together because, I thought the psychiatric symptom, mental health, and I'd always sort of had tummy issues. So I thought that was just the new GI issues evolving in my body. But the physical and neurological symptoms, they sort of scared me the most. Um, and yeah, it got to the point in the younger years where I became so self-conscious about my hands shaking and not like the coordination difference, I suppose, that I stop doing things, or I'd have periods where I didn't want to leave the house because I didn't want to do things with my hands in front of people. And every time I went to the doctors, they would say, psychosomatic, it's from anxiety, you've got mental health issues, there's nothing physical going on. And the more I heard that, um, the sort of the lower you get in life, because it just, you end up building your life around everything that you can't do. So your world becomes very small. And then, as I got a little bit older in my early 20s, I found that I had periods where I felt a little bit better. And I'd think, well, maybe I'm okay. Or maybe they're right. It is in my head. Now I'm functioning. And I had my first child at 24. After I had him, I had a period of dim vision. And then after I had my second child, I saw flashes in my left eye for 6 months, and they could never end with all of these symptoms. They could never find, like, it didn't fit MS, which I've now also been diagnosed with, um, but it never fit that box. So I was, even at that point, sent home with no answers, and these neurological symptoms that kept occurring, and then I'd have a period where I felt better again. And then after my third child, I became very unwell, and I couldn't move my face for 6 months. I had problems with my gait and tremors and fatigue. And again, was sent to the psychologist. So, yeah, the journey to finding Bree has been very long. I finally was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2021, but unfortunately that didn't answer questions. The medications made me very unwell, and I kept progressing despite the fact that I was diagnosed with relapsing remitting MS. And I just knew that there was something wrong, something else. And so I started learning about Lyme disease, reading other people's stories with MS, and they discovered they had Lyme disease. And I was fortunate enough to join an Australian Lyme support group, and a specialist passed on Bree's details. So, yeah,
Wow.
it was sort of 20 years of chronic illness, and finally getting a diagnosis, which it sounds crazy, but I was actually really relieved because I just thought I was insane for 20 years. But then with that diagnosis, realizing that I didn't have an atypical patient of MS. And my neurologist would say, well, these symptoms are MS, but this is not. And I kept questioning, well, they all come together for me. This is how I flare up. So I knew that there was something else going on. And because I'm very stubborn, I stopped trying to find, the answer.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I guess I should say that if anyone's watching this first, we apologize if it cuts in and out a little bit, but that's why we're recording it this way, because you're in quite a remote area with not the best Wi-Fi. And before I didn't have sound recording, but I remember when you told me this last time, I was, because I always want to put myself in the shoes and try and understand what it might have felt like. And I can imagine that you must have felt maybe um, like you just couldn't trust your own intuition, like almost like you got gaslit by the whole medical society, um, and
Yeah.
it would be really isolating and lonely. And I remember last time you told me a little about how amazing it was, the good and the bad, but the amazingness of having the internet came around, and how you were able to start sort of looking on there and trying to sort of become your own physician first and do your own investigation. Can you tell me like what that was like and what it's like in those forums and all of that? Because that was really
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I started to read stories both on Instagram and Facebook, of other people's journeys that were similar to mine. And that type of connection is so valuable to us, because the loneliness we feel when we know what's happened to our own body, and then you have physicians that tell you, well, that doesn't happen or that's not possible. You just, it does sort of create a type of mental illness on its own,
Mm.
being when you know what has happened and what your body's done and the symptoms that you've felt. So having that connection then really gives you the confidence to keep going, to keep adding for yourself, because you sort of want to give up along the way a lot of the time. It gets to the point where you just feel like there's no end to this. I've just got to accept whatever's coming, and I give up. But then finding those stories, especially at a time where I was so unwell, really did give me the strength to keep going, keep advocating, and realizing that there might be a possibility of recovery, which I'd sort of started to feel like that wasn't possible for me.
Mm. You know, on a very small level, not as severe as what you're talking about, but I hear that a lot myself in what I do with clients. You know, they might get told by a physiotherapist that after they've had a knee injury or a knee surgery, like, be careful with that, you can't do this. And they almost start to craft their life and put their effort around avoiding that thing. And like you said before, making their life smaller or fit. And I can imagine that this is like doing that, but in very extreme ways, and cutting a lot of things out. And so either you put your effort into hope and fighting and researching and looking to not accept, or you put your time in adapting and minimizing and working around all of these things. They both take effort. It's just where do you want to go?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And yeah, I think any human can relate to that. We always have to try and tilt to hope and not despair with any situation, because that's all we've got at the end of the day. So, yeah, definitely.
I want to read your list of symptoms, because this was something that blew my mind when you started working with Bree and you had to write down what you had. She sent this to me and I said, "Oh, this is a list of all the symptoms that people write." She said, "No, this was hers at the start." So clear my throat here for the list. Okay, so fatigue, chronic pain, histamine intolerance, mood swings, cognitive decline, word finding, night sweats, speech issues, tremor, muscle spasms, mobility issues, major GI upset, face rashes, tinnitus, visual disturbance, POTS, Raynaud's, neck pain, sore throats, hoarseness, shin and foot pain, balance issues, brain and spinal cord damage, and then it goes into the MS and the neurological. And when you were talking to me, you were talking about your leg dragging even behind you. So tell me what some of the most debilitating things were like. Like, what was a day like for you? Were you even able to get out of bed? Were you able to work? What?
Yeah, so before I started working with Bree, no, I had to close my business. I was hitting burnout every week, and that was terrifying. I only had a few hours that I could be out of bed each day, but even, with that short amount of time, I would sometimes hit burnout when I was out of the house. And that was like your body just becomes paralyzed. And it was terrifying because I didn't even have the strength to breathe. And then I would get emotional. It affects every part of your brain, chronic fatigue. And yeah, after 12 months of hitting that every week, I was not in a good place, obviously, mentally, physically. I had days where I couldn't even meet my basic needs. So I couldn't make my, I sometimes had to get my husband to help me to the toilet. It was horrendous. And then that obviously, led to a lot of mental health issues, because I just felt like I couldn't live like this, and I felt like a burden to my, because we've got 3 children, and then all of a sudden, not only am I not working, but I needed a carer. and my mobility was worsening. So my left leg would drag if I was on my feet for, any longer than 20 minutes. I started using a cane. My hands, I couldn't prepare food for very long without my hands seizing up or becoming painful. And the neuropathic pain down my legs and in my feet every night was unbearable to the point where I couldn't fall asleep. So,
Gosh. Did you start using a cane before you were diagnosed with MS or after?
oh, after,
What
yeah.
what did that feel like being a young person and being like we were talking about your life getting small and starting to accept stuff. I mean, when you break a leg and you need crutches to get around, you do it because it makes sense. But was that hard to be like, I use a cane now?
It was hard, and especially I think when you're a ambulatory mobility aid user. So, like, I can stand up and walk around, but if I want to go to the shops or go somewhere with the kids, my legs are going to become very weak after a short amount of time. So, you, it's it was such a difficult process to accept that in myself and to even have the confidence to use it without, people thinking, what, does she need that? I saw her walking yesterday. So it's all this internal shame as well as the ableism in the community. And I really think that's where people don't understand these invisible disabilities and chronic illness that fluctuate so much. So that was really hard, and it took a long time to be confident enough to be in the community with a mobility aid.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even think of that side of it that like you don't have enough to deal with. But the fact that you just said then that things can fluctuate up and down. So one day you might be able to, tidy the kitchen and make school lunches and do bits and pieces. And then the next day you need help to go to the bathroom and can't go upstairs or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so confusing, and it's so confusing for the patient, let alone your family members, your friends, your children,
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
And we just have to go with the flow and do our best. And there's not always a pattern. You
Mm.
know, you can pace and do all the things that we know is beneficial, but life isn't like that. Life is very dynamic. And then if you have a flare up, that means you can't do the things that you normally can do.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was sort of how life was like for a good 3 years until I started working with.
Wow. Okay, well let's leave all the heartache and the horribleness and we'll build some hope now. So yeah, so when you first started with Brie, again, I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes. I almost feel like I would be guarded anytime I started something new. Like, all right, I'm going to try, but I'm not going to get too excited, or this is just another. I'm just trying one more thing, and it probably won't make a difference. And I feel like I'd be a little bit guarded. But what was it like for you?
Uh, yes, I look when I because I suspected Lyme, and I initially had my blood test done in Australia, and they came back negative, and I still thought, no, this everything sounds like me, and I found Brie, and we had my blood tests sent to USA. So finally, I had these results that yes, I'm positive for Lyme and Babesia. Um, but of course, with the treatment, yes, there's still in the back of your mind, that skeptic thinking, well, how much better can I get? And because multiple sclerosis and Lyme disease, and look, that is still something that we're working through. We'll find out what my baseline is at the end of this, but it was consistent improvement from the beginning.
Wow.
So the results just don't lie. I did come into it positively, but of course I had doubts the whole way along. I think anybody does, that's just the way the human mind works. You think of all of the negative and the positive possibilities.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw this consistent improvement month after month.
Wow.
And all of a sudden I could prepare a meal. I could go to my daughter's soccer game. I could go to an appointment and go to the shops in one day. Like those things. And then when I got home, I just needed a rest. I didn't need to sleep.
What about the nerve pain in the legs and then the leg dragging when you were walking, like being able to lay down at night? Because I'd imagine that would just be infuriating and exhausting.
Yeah. The pain was really something that I was not prepared for when I received the diagnosis. Like, I thought about all the other things, the mobility issues and everything else, but the pain, is a part of it that you feel like, when is this going to end? Well, and I have not had that pain in my legs once since I've been working with Brie.
Gosh.
So no neuropathic pain in my legs.
Wow.
And my left leg does not drag when I walk up hills. I've still got the damage in my spinal cord. So I do feel my legs that there is a bit of weakness if I overdo it. But that's me being able to be on my feet for most of the taking little breaks. And that's just a little reminder sometimes that, that's right, there is still something there. And it'll be really interesting to see the further we go along eradicating the Lyme, if improvement in that as well.
I think I know what Brie would say, but I'm not going to speak for her. You said something last time. One of the things that stuck with me the most, and like with clients that I work with, I do Pilates and mobility stuff. So, someone who initially thought they won't be able to get out of a chair again, and then they're worried that they'll have to go into a home or something just to be able to squat again. Like, the change from worrying about the direction you're going is almost just as powerful as the progress. I don't think I said that really well, but something you said to me was, I was preparing for when I'm going to go into a wheelchair.
Yes.
And not only is that not the direction you've gone, but you're also like, the leg's not even dragging. Like, that's mind blowing.
Yeah. When I started to lose that mobility in my legs and my arms, and I also had really severe problems with my balance. So I was falling. When I'd turn my head, I'd fall to the right, and I've actually lost one of my neurological signs. My neurologist has told me, since working with Brie, one of the balance, I can't remember the name, but one of the signs that affects my balance, it's completely disappeared.
So what does your MS doctor say about your improvements?
He agrees with me that the MS treatment wasn't good for me, and that I'm definitely on the right path at the moment. So I'm very grateful to have that feedback from him, and he's got enough of an open mind to, well, this is reality. So
It's kind of
I'm going
infutable. Yeah.
I'm going to acknowledge that as your doctor. I would probably leave, not go back and see him if he didn't acknowledge
Sure.
my.
Of course.
But yes, he can't disagree with the change.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, and you're not taking anything that was
For MS.
for MS. Okay. Wow. And so, one of the tests that Brie, and she only told me this just the other day. One of the activities that seems to be quite hard for patients to do is hanging laundry out. And she said it's because you're on your feet and you're doing something physical, but also you're reaching above the head and blood pressure and things like that. So where are you on the hanging out washing scale, or where were you to
But,
where are you?
well, I still don't like doing it, but I can do it now.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
wow,
I
wow.
can do it.
All right. So what's the goal for this next 12 months? Because you've done 12 months with Brie, and
Yeah.
because you've still got more work to do, and for like wow for 20 years and a lot of thing damage and things going on. So you've signed up for another 12 months of continued working together.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about what the goal is for the 12 months, or is it just month by month progress?
It is month by month, and that's the wonderful thing about working with Bree, that um, you're dealing with everything in real time and adjusting things
Mm,
that work for you as the patient, and it's so individual and unique for us all. So at the moment, um, I'm just starting to increase the herbs that treat Lyme specifically,
okay.
and then also trying to support the immune system to get back into a healthy state so it can help my body clear
Yeah.
all of this, functioning properly, and to also assist in my lifelong GI upset
Mm.
that I've lived with as a child, but then obviously it's got a lot worse since acquiring Lyme disease.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes total sense, and I think that's one of the reasons that she can only work with so many people, because I didn't realize how much fine tuning it takes. Because like you said before, life is life, and you can have external pressures and external stresses, and your body is quite haywire in a way and very sensitive, so it can go up and down like crazy. So that fine tuning, not just month to month, but almost like week to week, day to day, is a huge part of her work. I've realized. So
Yeah.
I guess you kind of have to just see what the body gives you and keep stepping forward that way. Yeah. So how often do you find that you need to reach? I mean, after 12 months, you're probably starting to get some trust in your own body now. But how often now do you need to reach out and touch base through
Um,
WhatsApp or something?
yeah, we usually have a telehealth appointment every sort of 3 weeks,
Okay.
and then, but in saying that, Bree is available to be contacted all the time
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
is an incredible service. So if I've started something new with the protocol and I'm having a reaction, either or negative,
Yeah.
I reach out to her and discuss that with her, and then, I'm supported immediately, and you can sort of find out what's going on
Yeah.
instead of never getting any answers. So
Yeah.
uh,
And
yeah
wasting
I,
time or maybe making something worse in the time. I can't even get the practice manager of my ear, nose, and throat doctor to reply to an email.
yeah
which is crazy in our Western medicine. It's like the more elevated they are, the less they actually have time for patients.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
there's nothing personalized in
yeah,
Western medicine, unfortunately.
yeah,
Um, so this service for me is amazing, and the results speak for themselves. So,
mm,
you know, I've I've just really learnt to trust the process, and it is paying off big time.
yeah. Wow. It's funny. I said to you last time at the end. I said I feel so encouraged, and we've gone through the same chat, and I feel encouraged again. So I hope people that are watching this do get encouraged to find hope. I think one of the things you said last time is when you went on to those forums, it was nice to look for the people that had the same collection of symptoms,
Yeah,
and to really try and narrow it down. I think that's really nice to yeah, to try and find your people, or to try and find those people who have the same collection of things, and start to hear some of their stories. But I think the main overarching thing has to be just hope, right? To keep
abs-
going.
yeah, absolutely. To keep going, and there is ways to heal. You know, um, and Western medicine unfortunately just has not caught up with it. But in Australia, practitioners like Bree are there, and it truly works.
It's
So,
really hard in Australia, I've come to learn, because we still don't acknowledge Lyme as being here, which is wild. It's almost like it feels like a floodgate. It's just going to build up and build up before they have to finally say, okay, we've got so many people here suffering. We're going to have to change our stance. But for now, there's only
yeah,
people on the front line like Bree that you can even reach out to.
yes, yeah, it is. It makes me so upset because
Mm,
there's kids dealing with this,
mm,
and they know where to go. You
yeah,
know, I just the fact that not everybody in our country access healthcare to get better and to live their life is really heartbreaking. Um, yeah, I'm so fortunate to be able to work with Bree, but I hope moving forward there's more awareness and more in the community, even at the grassroots level, literally, about protecting yourself.
yeah.
It just it seems insane that we live in this country where this is happening and it's not acknowledged.
Yeah. Well, it's like we had the huge skin cancer, campaigns where we went into slip, slop, slap, and it just became general knowledge of this. That's what
Yeah,
you do in Australia. It almost feels severe enough in the quality of life and the results of this, that it should be to that level. I can't
yeah,
imagine what it's costing us as a society to have people like you so, burdened and unable to contribute to your own life and your family, what it's costing us as a society too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like there's no winners in this situation.
Mm,
Yeah, it's so bizarre, and I don't know if we'll ever know why
mm.
it's not recognized or what the delay is,
Oh, we're not
but
we're not going down that path.
uh,
But look,
uh,
I don't know if Bree's magic enough to make you ever enjoy laundry. But I do look forward to seeing where you are in another 12 months' time, of just healing all these different things. That'll be great to chat then.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I that as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time again. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.